Welcome to our functional fitness class, part of our Grow with GoGo series. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services, all by calling one number. That phone number is 855-464-6872. We also have a referral program. So you have a code at the bottom of your GoGo receipts. If you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both receive $30 in GoGo credit. So a pretty good win-win if you know someone else who would benefit from any of the services, including these classes. We have a Facebook group, so if you ever want to check in with other people who are using GoGo or see how other members are using our services, you can find us on Facebook. We'll share a link in the chat so you can easily pop on over there if you want to continue on any conversations. And with that, we'll get going. If we haven't met, I'm Aedra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo. What do we need today? So for a functional fitness class, this class is primarily standing. It's a pretty active class. If it's too much for you, you can take breaks whenever you need. You can have a seat whenever you need, or just know that our yoga class is a little bit calmer. We're seated almost the entire class. So if you want something else, you can always check out our yoga class. Functional fitness is just a little bit more strength and cardio and balance work. It's helpful to have some light weights, 1 to 3 pounds if you have them. You could grab cans or water bottles instead, or nothing at all, and you'll just move through the motions. We use a chair here and there for balance, so go ahead and grab a chair. Just make sure you have something that you can sit on and hold on to as needed throughout class. I know it says to you have some wall space. Whenever I offer wall space, it's optional. If you have it, use it. If you don't have it, don't worry. I will give you other options. All right, we're done with the spiel. Let's get going. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Here in a moment, or just now, I should pop up nice and big for you. If for some reason my screen did not just pop up big and you don't see my face here, then you have to adjust your settings. And the way you'll do that is you'll bring your cursor to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen and click View. A box will pop up that says View, top right-hand corner, and you want to pick Speaker View, and then you'll see me nice and big. Or Gallery View if you want to see everybody else. Okay, let's go ahead and find a nice standing position. Do a few shoulder rolls back. Shoulder rolls forward. Let those shoulders relax. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. Exhale, arms come back down. Again, inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, back down. One more. Inhale, circle out and up. And exhale, back down. Let's do little knee bends. So let's inhale, bend the knees and lift the shoulders up towards the ears. And then straighten the legs, let the shoulders drop. I'll show you a side view. You don't need to turn. So we inhale, bend the knees, shoulders lift up. Exhale, straighten the legs, shoulders drop. It's like a little plie in that you're not sticking your tail out behind you. You're just bending those knees forward over the toes. And you're letting those shoulders lift and lower. A few more times. Next time the knees are bent, go ahead and pause. Let those shoulders relax. Let's inhale, open up the chest. So open the arms, lift the sternum, reach that tail back behind you, and then round your back, tuck your tail, and give yourself a hug. Keep going. So you'll inhale, open the chest. Exhale, round the back, give yourself a hug. Keep going. At your own pace. So don't worry about my speed or anybody else's. Coming back to center, let those arms relax. We'll move into side bending. Slide one hand down your leg, come up through center, and then other hand slides down and back up. So go ahead and keep going at your own pace. You can go as fast or as slow as you'd like. You can keep both arms down, or if you'd like, as you slide one hand down, other arm can reach up towards the ceiling, and then switch. And make your way back to center. Let's take our fingertips to our shoulders and bend the knees a little bit. Try and keep those legs stable so the lower half of the body is not going to move, and we'll twist just the upper body. All right, and then coming back to center, letting those arms go. Shake out the legs, shake out the arms. All right, let's go ahead and have a seat now. So we're going to sit towards the front of our chair. So the other day, someone was asking me about squats, and I want us to be able to sort of play around with deconstructing a squat and what's involved in a squat. The amazing thing is you likely do squats all the time, getting in and out of your chair. So you're going to go ahead and get in and out of your chair a few times. Just notice how you do it. So don't worry too much about form. Just start to pay attention to what you do. Do you use your arms to help you? Do you push your hands into armrests or your thighs? Is this hard? Is this easy? Are your feet next to each other, or are they staggered? Is one foot sort of ahead of the other? So we do squats every day, almost certainly a variation of a squat. But sometimes squats can feel like a lot of pressure on the knees. So we're going to play around with all of the parts. We're going to start with the ankle part. So part of a squat is being able to move your lower leg on the foot or on the ankle, or let that motion of the ankle. You can stay seated. I was just coming up so that you could see. So we just want to make sure our ankles have nice mobility. So let's straighten out your left leg, or one leg straightens forward. We're going to flex the foot, really reach those toes up towards the ceiling and back towards your knee. And then point your foot, reach those toes down towards the ground. So we'll flex and point several times here. Finding that motion, warming up those ankles, really focusing especially on this dorsiflexion, or when the toes are reaching towards the ceiling or even back towards your knee. Because that's really happening when you are squatting. All right, let's go ahead and switch legs. So other leg straightens out in front of you. We'll flex and point the foot, really letting that focus be that pulling of the toes up towards the ceiling or even back towards your knee. All right, and then bringing the foot down. Now we're going to move into knee motion. So when we squat, our legs bend and straighten. Sometimes it's really hard to do that because we're loading or we're carrying our entire body weight. So we're going to find that bend and straightening motion with much less weight. We're just going to use gravity and nothing else. So let's stretch that left leg forward in front of us. Now, when you stretch that leg in front of you, see if you can keep your torso relatively upright. So try not to lean back. And then you're going to bend that left knee and straighten. Bend and straighten. So try to keep that thigh close to parallel to the ground. And we're looking to feel the muscles of the quads. So the top of the thigh or front of the thigh might start to feel some heat. So squatting is a bending and a straightening of the leg. It's just right now, we're not carrying our body weight, we're just carrying the weight of our leg. All right, let's switch sides, bring that foot down, we'll straighten out the right leg. So let that right leg come up so the leg is about parallel to the earth instead of letting it droop down. It's just a bit easy if you let it droop down. So we want it nice and high, we bend and straighten. So I like the foot flexed or dorsiflexed. So that's those toes up towards the ceiling. When you're doing this, because when we are standing, that's the position our foot is in. Our foot is not pointed. So again, just noticing, are you trying to lean back when you do this? Can you keep your torso upright? All right, and then go ahead and let that go. Come on up to stand for a moment. Now, another motion that happens when we squat is there's a little bit of a hinge at the hips. So maybe do a squat. It's where you come in and out of your chair and you notice, okay, yes, there's my knees are moving slightly over my ankles, my knees are flexing or bending. And then there's also this motion happening here at the pelvis or at the hips. So we're going to play with that motion now. So let your knees be soft. So the legs are not locked out here. Let's let those knees be soft. We're going to hinge at the hips. So you're going to let that tail reach out behind you, bringing your torso towards parallel to the earth and coming up. So this is a pelvic or a hip and leg motion, not a spine motion. So your spine is not going to change shape as you do this. I'm just trying to move my arms so that you can see. You can have your arms in whatever position feels good. So it's our pelvis rolling over our thigh bones. Our pelvis being this whole region here, the bones here, are rolling over our thigh bones because the leg bones articulate with the pelvis. So that's another motion. So it's nice to see, okay, what are all the pieces that are involved in the squat? Can I do them individually, or is one of them really hard? And then we put them together. So let's come all the way up to stand. All 10 toes are facing forward, or if that's uncomfortable, you can turn them out a little bit, but don't go too wide. We'll do some squats. I like to do the squats in front of the chair, but you can decide what feels good. So we're bending those knees. The hips are going to go back. You can let your torso come a little bit forward here. And then come on up. So finding that squat, that up and down. Noticing what's the hard part. Is it the motion at the knees? Is it the motion at the hips? Is it the motion at the ankles and the feet? And if this feels like too much, maybe you work on the one area that's hard. So if it's the knees, you would stay seated and do some straightening and bending of the leg. Not at this moment, but if at home you have ankle weights, you could put ankle weights on and do that straightening and bending of the legs. Let's just do a few more. All right, and then let's go ahead and come on up to stand and grab your weights. Let's do some hammer curls. So in the past, we've done regular bicep curls, we've done reverse curls. Now we're going to do hammer curls. It's like you're holding a hammer and you're about to use it. So the thumbs are sort of facing up. Yeah. And then we bend the elbows, hands come by the shoulders, and then back down. So if you do not have weights, feel free to grab cans or water bottles, or imagine that you're lifting something really, really heavy and then slowly lowering it down. So if you use your imagination here, it will make it more challenging. So feel free to do that. Even if you have weights, you can imagine that your weights are heavier. Couple more. All right, and then letting that go. We're going to do some squats now, but if you want, you can have your weights. So we did squats before. We're going to do our next set of squats. You can, again, just pick one of the motions if the full squats is not working for you. I'm going to face you this time. Set yourself up so feet are, a little wider than those hips. You can have your weights now in front of your chest. Bend your knees and straighten. And again, just noticing all of those parts that move, being aware that we are trying not to move the spine. So the spine is trying to stay stable as we move those big muscles and joints in our legs. Couple more. All right, and letting that go, shaking it off. Grabbing your weights for your hammer curls. So palms face in. We bend the elbows, hands come by the shoulders, and lower back down. Again, if you need to make this harder, imagine that you're moving through something sticky like honey, or imagine that your weights are much, much heavier than they are. Or grab heavier weights if you have heavier weights. Right? Lots of options. This is really just an elbow movement. So the shoulders trying to be pretty still, the spine and the hips are trying to be pretty still. Couple more. All right. Letting that go, putting those weights down. Let's stretch our forearms. Let's bring that right arm forward in front of you. Fingers point down, palm forward. Use your other hand to pull the fingers back. So feel free to adjust where your arm is. So it can be high, but you can also lower your arm down if that's more comfortable on your body. Your elbow can be straight or bent. Go ahead and switch. Other arm forward, fingers point down, pull the fingers back. All right, and then shake it off. Let's go ahead and come behind our chair so that we have some balance support. If you can't get behind your chair, find a wall, find a table, find something to hold on to. Let's stand on a tightrope. So let's step that right foot in front of the left. Like you're standing on a tightrope. All 10 toes are trying to face forward. You can keep holding on with 2 hands, or you could hold on with 1 hand. You could hold on with 1 or 2 fingers. You could hold on with nothing at all. So I guess not hold on. So find whatever amount of support that you need. If you still need more challenge and you are not holding on, close your eyes and that will make it harder. Totally okay, normal, and in fact desired for this to feel hard, right? You want to have to readjust yourself, to almost lose your balance and catch yourself. So find that just right challenge for you. And knowing that every day is different. Some days balance is easy, some days balance is hard. And just being aware of that, being kind to yourself if it's challenging today. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. So left foot steps in front of the right, standing on that balance beam, that tightrope, all 10 toes face forward. You're holding on as much or as little as you'd like. 2 hands, 1 hand, 1 or 2 fingers. Maybe you're hovering. Maybe no hands, maybe eyes closed or open. All right, open those eyes, hands back to your support. Let's walk back upside down L or chair dog. So walking those feet back, ankles are approximately under the hips, torso is moving towards parallel to the earth. It does not need to be completely parallel. You can be more lifted if that's better on your body. Couple deep breaths. All right, coming up and coming to stand. Let's stay behind our chair or our support. Let's move into some heel raises. So lifting onto the tippy toes. Let all 10 toes face forward so your feet are parallel. We're going to lift the heels off the ground and then lower back down. Now, as you do this, as best you can, you're going to try and keep your torso pretty still. Your hips are going to try and stay in alignment. What I often see when we do heel raises is this like wild back bend, pushing of the hips forward. Why is the body doing that? Because then we unweight those calves. Those calf muscles are not working. So you want to try and keep those hips back over the heels as you lift and lower. So those calf muscles really have to work. A way of forcing yourself into this is to go against a wall. So only if you have a wall, don't worry if you don't. Let those heels be 1/2 inch from the wall. Your hips are against the wall, so your glutes and part of your back. Whatever is touching the wall when you're standing tall stays touching the wall as you lift your heels up and down. So that just forces your weight back a little bit so that those calf muscles have to carry the weight of your body. So there's nothing particularly wrong with pressing your pelvis forward when you're doing those heel raises, but then you're not working or strengthening the parts of the body that we are focusing on. And then also you're jamming the back a little bit, putting the back in a less ideal position. So I love the use of the wall to force us to put more weight into those calves, but you can just try and think about it if you are not able to stand by a wall, but you can hold on to something instead. So just do 2 or 3 more. All right, and then let's find a calf stretch. Step your right foot back, 1 to 3 feet back, and we'll bend the front knee. So you're sort of in a lunge, but that back leg is straight, and that back heel is pushing into the ground. So you have 1 leg back, 1 leg forward, the front knee is bent, the back leg is straight, you're pushing that back heel into the earth. I'm holding on to my chair, but you don't have to do that. Go ahead and switch legs, other leg steps back. So feet are 1 to 3 feet apart, front knee is bent, back leg is straight, back heel is pushing into the earth. All right, and come on up and grab your weights. We're going to do a narrow overhead press. So oftentimes with the overhead press, we have our palms facing forward, starting in a W shape. What we're going to do is go to the top of that hammer curl, right? So if we did the hammer curl, hammer bicep curl, the thumbs would be towards the shoulders. The palms would be facing in. We want to try and maintain that relationship between the arms. So my arms right now are sort of 2 parallel lines, right? They're parallel to each other. We want to try and keep that as we push the hands towards the ceiling and back down. So keep going here, trying to keep it relatively narrow. So due to shoulder tightness, many of us are going to need to reach those arms slightly forward. So you see me my hands are not going straight up to the ceiling, they're going slightly forward. Because what happens when I reach my arms up to the ceiling, for many of us, is you'll see a movement in the spine. We don't want that spine moving. We want the spine nice and still. And so if your way of keeping that spine still means your arms come slightly forward, no big deal. Go for it. You can always stand against a wall here for this as well. So you would take your heels 1/2 inch from the wall, press your hips or your glutes against the wall. Notice what part of your upper back is on the wall, and then keep those 2 points of contact. So glutes and part of your back, usually around the heart rate monitor height, maybe a little higher for most of us. Keep those on the wall as you move your arms up and down. Maybe your arms don't straighten all the way. That's okay. Do the best you can. A few more. All right, and coming down. You can put those weights off to the side. We're going back to our heel raises. So you can hold on or bring your back to the wall, or maybe neither. Maybe you're feeling good with your balance today. We're gonna lift and lower those heels. Noticing if you're rolling on your feet, try and concentrate your weight more towards the big toe side of the foot or the inner part of the foot, a little more than the outer part of the foot. And imagine that you're holding a ball, a small ball between your ankles. So you don't want to let those heels sort of splay out and those ankles to splay out. We want to stay nice and stable, holding that imaginary ball between the ankles. Couple more. All right, give that a break, shake it off. Grab your weights. So we go to the top of that hammer curl. So elbows are bent, thumbs are towards the shoulders. We push the arms up to the ceiling and back down. We try and keep the ribs nice and relaxed, the spine nice and relaxed and stable. Arms reach up and down. Again, the arms do not need to go directly overhead. They can come slightly forward. Feel free to use your wall as your personal trainer, right? That'll show you if you're pulling away from the wall. And if you're pulling away from the wall, you're either moving your pelvis or your spine, and probably both. Okay, take a little rest for a moment, put the weights down. Going to do a little combo here. Go ahead and stand with your chair either to your right or to your left, just to one side in case you need to hold on at any point for balance. We're going to do a squat with a heel raise at the end. So feet go ahead, set up for your squat, so a little wider than the hips. You'll go ahead and bend your knees, find that squat. I'm gonna center myself so the camera, it looks normal. And then straighten those legs and then lift up onto your tippy toes. You can hold on, right? I'll give you some side views as well. So we're doing our squat. Then once your legs are straight, you lift up onto your tippy toes. Let's do that a few times. Feeling free to support yourself as needed with the chair. You can make this as big or as small as you'd like, and as fast and as slow as you'd like. All right, go ahead and let that go. Take a moment, shake it off. Then you'll grab your weights. We're going to do the hammer curl. into a narrow overhead press. So grabbing those weights, palms face in towards you. You bend the elbows, hands come by the shoulders, thumbs are by the shoulders. Then you push your arms overhead, then lower down, straighten the arms by your side. So hammer curl, overhead press, bend, and lower down. Keep going. As fast or as slow as possible, remembering all of those things about your form. So try not to get this to move into your pelvis or your spine, making this an arm and shoulder exercise. Couple more. All right. Put the weights off to the side. Shake out those arms. We are now going to combine, without any weight for now, the squat heel raise with the bicep curl overhead press. We'll go really slowly. Stand near something, so if you start to lose your balance, grab onto the chair. Or if you're finding that this is too many different things at once, just pick one or two, right? You could just do the arms, or you could just do the legs. Yeah? Okay. But I am going to teach it as though we're going to do all of the bits. So you're setting up for your squat. Let's do just a squat with a heel raise. So we squat, straighten those legs, lift up onto the tippy toes, lower the heels. Okay, so now we squat, hammer curl. So now we have bent knees and bent elbows. Then we straighten the legs, reach the arms up to the ceiling as you lift up onto your tippy toes, and then coming down. So we let those arms lower. We squat, bicep curl, straighten those legs, arms come up, heels raise, lower it down. Squat, bicep curl, overhead press, heels come up. I know it's like a million things happening at once, so if you need to cut out any part of it, it's totally fine. So I find going really slow actually kind of hard. So if you want to move a little faster, that's totally fine. Move in a way that feels natural to you. But we're combining the 2 arm exercises and the 2 leg exercises into one exercise. All right, take a little break. Shake it out. If that felt doable, you now can do it with the weights. If it felt unbalanced or really tricky, just stay with playing with the coordination. Don't worry about grabbing the weights, but I do want to give you the option of the weights if you need that next step. So if you do need that next step, grab those weights, and it's the same exact thing. We squat, bicep curl, overhead press, lift to the toes, lower down. Bicep curl, straighten the legs, overhead press, tippy toes, lower down. Yeah, it's a lot happening. Keep going. Get rid of any of the components you don't like. The point here is for this to be a little bit challenging, not just for the body, but also for the brain. There's a lot of coordination and things aren't happening at the exact same time, right? Your knees are not bending at the exact same time as your elbows are bending. Your legs are probably straightening before your arms are straightening. So let it be tricky. You know, if you play piano, your right hand and your left hand don't do the same thing. Well, here we're finding that the arms aren't exactly mirroring each other with the legs. So upper and lower body can move together without necessarily doing the same exact motion with our kind of sister joints, being that your elbows are similar to your knees. A few more. All right. Whew. Let that go. Put the weights down. Stand behind your chair. Let's do a chair dog or an upside down L. Walk yourself back. Ankles are approximately under the hips. Torso is moving towards parallel to the earth. You, of course, can have bent knees or lifted torso or both. Catch your breath. Go ahead and lift yourself back up, walking forward. Let's do a little balance. So let's stand on that right foot, holding on with two hands to begin. Left foot can come behind you or in front of you, whatever feels better today. So standing on that right foot. First, while you're holding on, notice where your weight lands on your feet or on your foot, on your right foot. See if you can bias just a tiny bit of weight on the heel. So maybe 60% on the heel, 40% on the toes or the ball of the foot. And then if you want a little more challenge, maybe you hold on with just one hand or one or two fingers or no hands. Noticing how the weight shifts if you start to challenge your balance, how you might want to drift forward or to one side. See if you can fight that a little. See if you can get a little bit of that weight back. Like, again, finding that 60% on the heel, 40% forward. That might feel really hard, and that's okay, right? We're here to challenge ourselves. Go ahead and bring your left foot down, and let's switch sides. So standing on your left leg, bring your right leg up. First, hold on, and right your foot can be back or forward, whatever feels better. Let that weight shift onto the heel a little bit. So maybe 60% back, 40% forward. You're holding on with two hands, one hand, couple fingers, one finger, no hands, whatever works. Find that challenge. But then see, oh, once I challenge myself, does that mean that your hips just thrust really far forward? Right? Can you keep those hips slightly back even when you're in a challenged position? Few breaths. All right, bringing your foot down, shake it off. Go ahead and hold on to your chair once again. Upside down L, chair dog. Last one. All right, keeping your hands on your support, lift your torso, step your right foot forward. So we're now going kind of into a lunge here. So your right foot is forward, left foot is back. If you need to get into this position another way than what I just did, that's totally fine. We're in a split stance. Right foot is forward, left leg is back. We're holding onto our chair in front of us. Go ahead and bend both knees and then tuck your tail under. So we're bending both knees and we're tucking the tail under to try and get a stretch, in the front of that back hip. So my left leg is in the back, kind of that front of the pelvis thigh region. We're looking for a stretch there. So if both knees are bent and you're trying to tuck your tail between your legs, you'll probably feel a little stretch or a big stretch. And some strength in those legs. All right, step forward, switch sides. Other leg steps back. We bend both knees, back heel comes off the ground. We're holding on for support. So both knees are bent and then we are tucking that tail under. So the pubic bone is moving towards the belly button. The tailbone's trying to go between your legs. Both knees are bent. And again, you're looking for some sort of stretch in the front of that right thigh, front of the pelvis on the right side, or whichever leg is in the back. All right, stepping forward, shake it off, take a step away from your chair. That feels comfortable and safe. Let's do a few shoulder rolls forward. A few shoulder rolls back. Let the shoulders relax. Let's rotate the head right and left. Little motion of the neck. And then nodding the head, yes, looking up and down. Then bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Pause for just a moment. Side stretch of the neck. Other side. Back to center. Inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower the arms down. One more time. Deep inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, let it go. Awesome job, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure as always. Let's see here.
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions, now is your time to ask questions about class. So questions about either functional fitness or yoga or our Grow with GoGo fitness classes. If you have questions that are directly GoGo related, the best thing to do is call the helpline with GoGo and they'll be able to help you out. You can put questions in the chat. You can also unmute yourself and shout it out. Of course, if you're ready to go, you are absolutely welcome to log out whenever you need.
I do have an interesting question for you that's sort of related.
Go ahead.
At about the end of September, I was getting ready to go on a bike ride, and I got my backpack tangled up in something as I was trying to put it on one morning, and I kind of messed up my left arm, and it's still giving me trouble this late. Would that be a pulled muscle, or was it most likely a pinched nerve? What do you think?
I can't answer that question without doing an evaluation. It could be, usually muscles going to feel a little bit more achy, nerves are going to feel a little bit more burny, tingly, stingy, super sharp shooting. But the best thing to do would be to hopefully talk to a physical therapist or your doctor, and they can probably fully assess what's going on. A nerve or a muscle could have been hurt with getting kind of tangled up.
So it could go either way, is what you're telling me, I guess.
Yeah, it could go either
here's
way.
the thing. Yeah, see, I'm not going to be able to get in to see the doctor until next month. That's the problem.
So then my advice would be don't do anything that hurts. Potentially, I said do motions, right? Move your arm, just not in ways that are painful.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah. Sarah, I see you were raising your hand.
Yes, I'd like to see you incorporate some breathing into your work that you teach us, because movement is great, of course, but how to breathe as we're moving is very important, I feel.
Yeah. I highly suggest you come to our yoga class. The yoga class, almost every single movement is paired with breath. I sometimes incorporate breath into our functional fitness class, but less so, just because we're working on so many other things in terms of alignment. So I totally agree. I love I love breath and I love incorporating breath with movement. We do it less in this class and a lot more in the yoga class.
I see. I do actually go twice a week in person to a chair yoga class.
Oh, awesome.
That's what I was thinking of when you were doing these movements. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So if you ever come to our chair yoga here online, then you'll see that
Okay.
we breath almost every movement. And
Thank
someone
you.
else was asking about that, so you're not alone in asking that. Someone was asking that. Shirley, I see your comment in the chat there. Um, let's see. Elizabeth saying I'm back, needed the workout. Thank you. Peggy saying thank you. Thanks, Ken. I see you in the chat. Um, and Veronica, I see you in the chat. Thank you. But if anybody had, since we brought up breath, if anyone had a question of, oh, we were doing this exercise, would you recommend for the breath here? I'll give an example. So usually for, oops, sorry, just hit the mic there. For squats, not always, but usually for squats, what we do is inhale down, exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up. So if anyone has questions like that, we can definitely talk about it as well here in the next, couple minutes while we have time. Of like, oh, I was doing this movement, but I didn't know how to breathe or when to breathe. We can try and answer that now.
For me, I think that's general. Sorry, this is Peggy. Breathing for me is sometimes, when I'm listening to an instructor, he or she would say, breathe when you're coming up and exhale or something like that. And I'm always so confused with it because the first thing I think of right away is to breathe, whether I'm going up or down, and then, exhale, which is sometimes not what they're asking me to do. They're saying, okay, you're going down, that's when you exhale. When you're coming up, you breathe. For me, it's always seems to be the reverse. And I'm a little bit confused about that.
Um, there is no right or wrong way to breathe with our movement, but sometimes we choose to pair breath in a specific way because we have a goal in mind. So I'll give two quick examples. So in yoga, we often, I guess sorry, V, I unspotlighted myself, but we can re-spotlight me. We often open up for an inhale. So we'll do like a back bend for an inhale.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to do that? So that's encouraging a stretch and an opening in the front of the body.
Right.
But if my goal for that class was actually all about stretching the back of the body and not the front of the body, it might make more sense to inhale in a rounded position. Because then when I inhale, my lungs expand, my ribs expand, creating more stretch on the inside of the body. And so if my class was all about stretching the back, I might actually want to inhale into my back and then exhale as I open my chest. But typically what you'll see in like a yoga class is an inhale when you open the front of the body and an exhale when you stretch the back of the body. The other piece is in a fitness class, usually exhales are going to be used at the hard part. And I'm using quotes because going down into a squat is hard too. But typically the hard part, the quote unquote hard part of the squat is the coming up. Let's say that's the convention. So it would be inhale during the quote unquote easy part, exhale during the hard part. So we say exhale on exertion.
Okay.
And so those are the typical sort of times or the ways that breath is used, but everybody is so different. And then when we teach class, sometimes there's something specific we want to work on, right? So a teacher might choose to say breath in a certain way because they are trying to target something specific.
Yeah. Thank you. But you just said something which is very key for me. I think maybe that would help me to remember. On the harder part is when you breathe Did you say you breathe in?
So exhale, exertion.
Exertion,
So
exhale.
hard.
Okay.
Exhale
Right.
on the hard part.
Uh-huh. Okay, I see. Got it. Got you. Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Okay.
We have a few other things in the chat. We only have a few minutes, so I'm gonna look at those quickly. I have trouble straightening my back, especially lower back. I have spinal stenosis and I broke my right hip 2 years ago. Any ways to strengthen that area? That's sort of, Fran, I'm sorry, that's kind of out of the scope of what we can do here. I'm not a back specialist. I actually don't work with people usually with spinal stenosis. So I would say that's a ask your doctor, ask your physical therapist to help you with that. But amazing that you're coming here after breaking your right hip. That's excellent. What we're doing in this class really good for hip strengthening. So I'm happy that you're coming. Veronica's saying my lower body is a problem for me, knees and ankles area. Well, I'm glad you're here moving your body as much as you can, hopefully, and skipping whatever doesn't feel good. I'm glad that I'm not sure if there was a question with that, but I'm glad that you're moving anyways, even if you're having issues in the lower body.
Okay.
All
Adria,
right.
where is this class being recorded from? Where are you exactly?
I live in San Francisco,
I see.
and but GoGo records it and then they
Right.
share it on YouTube.
Okay, because I'm in Toronto, Canada, so I was kind of
Oh, awesome.
wondering. Yeah.
Long
Okay.
way away.
Yes, it is.
Alrighty,
Okay.
everybody.
All
I
right.
will
Thank you.
let you all go. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for being here. It's always nice, and I always like chatting at the end, so thanks for sticking around. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, either on Wednesday or on Friday. Or
Okay.
both.
Thank you. Thank
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 you.
you
Have a
you.
very
great
much.
weekend.
Have a
Bye for
good
now,
week.
everyone.